If you didn't catch last week's video, I went through the essential bikepacking kit you need for a week-long trip. This week I'm going in detail into all the kit you need to cycle around the world for 3 years. Because I'm cycling for so long, I've got a lot of extra luxuries that make cycling for such a long distance more comfortable for me. And I've also got extra stuff to work along the road and also to paraglide along the road. So let me dig into that stuff too. And if you haven't seen that video already, click up here to watch it and subscribe to see if I actually make it to the highest lake in Nepal. Hey, I'm back at it. So all of last week's bikepacking kit fitted into these two large rear panniers, but the extra kit that I take fits into new bags. So these are the Ortlieb, again, classic front panniers. They fit nicely on the front rack of my bike, and what I find is that they really help with the balance. I was cycling with a friend for a while who just had these rear panniers, and going downhill it was noticeable how quickly I could corner versus him with that extra weight on the front wheel and very low in terms of central gravity. It really helps you go down those nice hairpin bends. The feeling of this bike is absolutely gorgeous, thanks in a lot of parts to these pannier bags. So let's get started with the essentials from the camping side and the living side. For a shorter term bikepacking trip, I just wash with wet wipes. But on a longer trip, I tend to like having a toilet roll or an extra big set of wet wipes with me. A lot of the drop toilets here, they don't have toilet paper because you just use your left hand, which is why you don't eat with your left hand. If you don't enjoy wiping yourself with your own hand, then your own toilet roll is pretty essential for some of these countries. Equally, I've got a much bigger toiletry bag that I take with me when I'm cycling around the world. This has got razors in it, it's got an eye mask, it's got earplugs. Yeah. Earplugs are a must. Camping, people are surprised that you wear earplugs, but your body goes crazy when you hear just, you know, the monkeys in the trees or the birds, the peacocks it was in Nepal. But earplugs really help. These are actually musicians' earplugs, but I've also just got some pharmacy ones that I tend to use most of the time. So you've got a little bit of audio. You can just hear if you're going to get run over by an elephant, but you just get the little bug sounds, the little animal sounds out of your ears. Gives you a better night's sleep. I've also got some extra shoes. Because I've got quite cycling style shoes there, I've got these trail running shoes with me for when I stop mainly. And these are really good because I use them for paragliding, where you need some kind of solid shoe. I can use them for running. They're semi-waterproof around the outside, so I can use them for trail running. I can use them for road running as well if I need to, and they're just generally pretty hardy shoe for hiking as well, hiking up to the launch and that kind of thing, and I just wear them around town. So these are my one pair of all-round shoes, so I really took a while to choose them, and I'm pretty happy with these, to be honest. Yeah, trail running shoes for me are a good all-round shoe for daily use. I can wear trail running shoes at all times of the year. Then I've got sandals. These are something that I threw away really early on. And then I regretted it because I was in Turkey a couple of days away from Uludeniz, and I got the biggest thorn in my foot that I've ever seen. And I didn't even notice it at the beginning. I was just walking around a campsite in bare feet. Started cycling the next day, and I thought, oh, I've got these weird pains in my legs. And it was because I wasn't able to put force on my main pad of my shoe. So I went to the doctors when I got to Uludeniz, and the doctor laid me out flat and injected something into my toe, into the pad of my foot, and then pulled out this unbelievable thorn. Oh, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. So at that point on, I bought these sandals, and I've never regretted wearing these. Next, I've got my solar panel. On a shorter trip, for a week, I can get away with just having a couple of big batteries. But on a longer trip, especially when I'm going outside of populated areas and I'm camping for weeks on end, the solar panel is really good. This is a great unit, it's a Voltaic Systems unit. I've had a few issues with it, with the connector, but they're amazing. They've sent me some repair parts to my sister, and she's going to forward it on when we meet in the summer. But the benefits of this unit, I've been recommended it by a friend who's in the military, and he said that he swore by it. And the great things about it is it's waterproof. The unit itself is just totally sealed in here and screwed in. This main container is semi-waterproof. It charges these batteries. I've got multiple, so I can alternate one between my bar bag and one between here. And on a good day, when it's been working, when this connector's not been dodgy, it's been charging about up to 8,000 milliamp hours a day, which is two iPhones roughly a day. And it mounts on the back of back of my bike with these really good, really kind of flexible connections. I put it on the back of my rack pack, but you can put it on the front panniers or the back panniers. And also I can clip it onto the back of my Paraglider if I'm going for a long Volbiv trip. Just clip it on the outside and it would charge while I'm there, while I'm in the air. Then I've got some security stuff. For the shorter bikepacking trip, I'm just wild camping. There's not going to be many people around. I'm camping by the bike at all times. But when I'm staying in hotels where they won't let me take the bike into the room, which is an occasional situation, I need a lock. I literally just lock it to the nearest pipe or fence post or stair railing, and I can sleep at night without thinking that my bike is going to go missing in the night. I have had bike lights stolen, so remember to take those off the bike. These are just some extra bike lights which I bought while I was in India, which I use, like I say, when I'm going, like I said in the previous video, when I'm going into cities late at night and I need some extra vision. And the same for VisiVest. And I know people don't like to wear these, but the biggest time I've worn this is in India, where in the morning you get thick fog or thick smog. So even up till 10, 11 in the morning, you can't see more than a few meters in front of your face. And at that point, I'd rather have this on than get hit by a truck. So VisiVest, not glamorous, but useful. Then over here, you wouldn't necessarily think this is a luxury, but I've got a more in-depth first aid kit. I'm just taking a few plasters with me and some oral rehydration salts for the shorter bikepacking trip. But for a longer term trip, I really want a full-fledged first aid kit. And it's got stuff for paragliding and for cycling in. So I've got a notebook for incidents monitoring, I've got a knife for cutting lines, I've got some dental floss in here in case I get stuck in a tree in a paraglider, and then the normal plasters and thicker, bigger bandages and vinyl gloves. So this is really actually for dealing with other people rather than myself necessarily, if God forbid I experience or witness a paragliding accident. But equally for cycling, I've used several things in here. Tweezers for getting blisters out, scissors I use on a near daily basis, and plasters for nipple chafing, but also for scratches I get from trees, and for the occasional crash that I've had. This has come in very handy, the giant plasters. And then I've got a bigger waterproof bag that this goes in to mount it on my bike, but also in here I've got extra stuff like the Diarrhea Kit. This has got tablets and oral rehydration salts for diarrhea, because I've got food poisoning at least once a month since I've been out of Europe. And then I've got random stuff in here, Bonjela allergy stuff. That's more diarrhea stuff actually, but useful to have the extra medication on the go. These two bags here, these are my repair kits. Now I did a separate video on these when I was back in Goa, so you can watch that up here. Now these two are my big repair kits. This one is the repair kit for the bike, and this one is the repair kit for all the rest of my kit. I did a separate video about these while I was in Goa, so click up here or wherever it is to see that video. I've also got some extra dry bags for my kit. This is so that when I'm switching stuff around in bags in a campsite on my longer trips, they don't get wet. So I have one for my cold weather gear in blue, one for my hot weather gear in red, and this is just an extra one for my sleeping bag, because I don't know if you saw, but my sleeping bag is not the most waterproof. Now for my real luxuries. You've seen from my recent Digital Nomad series that I'm only cycling for about 1/3 of the year. For the other 2/3 of the year, I'm working, and for that I need my laptop. So I've got my MacBook Pro. It's the few years old, but very, very small bodied one, which is kind of why I went for it. It's not the fastest thing, but it's amazing. It's a great piece of kit to have. It just about handles video editing, and it just about handles coding and all of the other stuff I need to do. You can run a business off this, no problem. I've got this Hitachi adapter, which is absolutely vital for these MacBooks because they only have one port. And what I need from this is Ethernet, because Wi-Fi will be terrible wherever you go. So I'm doing a separate video on this soon, but definitely carry an Ethernet cable with you if you're doing any serious work. USBs for my hard drives, and HDMI so I can plug it into the TV wherever I am and get an extra screen. These are the hard drives. I've just bought them as I've gone along, found the cheapest ones I can get, and try to keep backups. I've almost lost videos a couple of times, so keep backups, it's very important. Got a microphone for the podcast series. Click up there for the podcast series. Extra battery. Again, just a chunky Anker one, the cheapest one I can find. But this one's 2,000 milliamp hours, which can charge my iPhone about 4 times over. It's very good, but it does take about a day to charge. So plug it in as soon as you get there. And speaking of charging, I've got this unbelievable multi-charge setup. I've got so much stuff to charge now that I've bought this cheap USB hub. I plug it into the wall with this, wherever I am. And at the same time, I can charge my torch with this one. I can charge the GoPro with this one. I can charge my watch with this one. And I can charge something else, Kindle or another set of bike lights with this one. And yeah, it gives you one port, but 4 things to charge. Things will charge very slowly, but if you get them on, as soon as you stop, it's fine. In here are my spare adapters and my charger for my laptop. So this is a bit chunky. In the past, I had one of those multi-adapters, but this time I've, for some reason, decided to go for the Apple International Charging Pack, which is a bit silly, but I can't really change it now. And then because I'm around people when I stop, I've got deodorant, but when I'm on the trail, I don't worry about that so much. And I've got a little Decathlon reversible day pack for going around the city, getting shopping, that kind of stuff. And a notebook and pen. When I'm working, I really enjoy just making notes, so a notebook and pen is my luxury. This one's interesting. As a quick aside, this is a poncho for my phone. Let me show you my setup. I've got again, a few-year-old iPhone, but the camera is great on it. The battery life is reasonable even after a few years, but I use this for navigation. I use it for listening to podcasts with those headphones that I mentioned on the last video. And yeah, it's very important to me. So I like to have it front and center. So I got this great system called Quadlock, and they're not sponsoring me. But Quadlock is one of those brands that I don't need a sponsorship to recommend. This case fits robustly onto this mount on my bike with a really satisfying click motion. So I just put it in 45 degrees, click it, and it fits. This poncho, which is a bit faded now, can slide over the top if it's raining. And it just about works. It pops right over if I want it. Sometimes, a lot of the time, the fingerprint even works. There we go, look, the fingerprint works through the case. It's very well designed. And it's all just solid, well-built plastic. A little bit pricey, but for the convenience, I think it's worth it. And I've got an adapter for this, which goes on the Paraglider with Velcro. If you have a desk or a home, you can buy them to stick on your desk or your counter or wherever you want it. And also they have a car mount, which I've used in the past as well. I haven't brought it with me, but I used that in the past. So that's the working kit. Next is my Paraglider. Now this one, I covered the specifics of it in my beer video. To recap, it's the Niviuk Roma 2 reversible harness with airbag. I have the Gin Yeti Reserve and the Gin Yeti Reserve container. That's the reserve parachute that goes in front of me here. And I have the Skywalk Arriba 3 lightweight paraglider. Now this is not the most lightweight paragliding kit you can get, but I need a good balance personally because I'm a low airtime pilot and I want to be able to fly decent flights and have relatively safe kit when I get to these amazing places that I've been able to fly. So this is a real trade-off to me between the super ultralight kit, which is uncertified, potentially has lower flight characteristics, versus full weight kit, which is more secure to fly, more comfortable to fly for longer distances. This kit I can still do a 4-hour flight in and just about be comfortable. I can still go cross country with it. I can still ridge soar efficiently. I can still thermal with the other pilots without much issue. But it comes in about 8 or 9 kilos. It's just a bit bulky, that's the thing. And for that bulk, I've got this, which is the Portly Brack Pack. This one's the big, the large, the 49 litre one. I think I could probably have gone down a size now, but again, it's not about buying new kit, it's just about using what you've got. This keeps it dry, and it means that I have a nice bench to use when I'm camping. My Paraglider just becomes my bench. Then over this side, I've got my super luxuries. So I've got my Kindle and my book. Again, when I'm on a bike packing weekend, I can just use my phone. My phone has books on it, so why take the extra weight? But I really enjoy the process of reading on the Kindle and on paper as well. And I get a lot of time to do it. A lot of time in cafes, when I'm sitting in campsite in the dark. And the backlighted Kindle is a really nice thing to read for a few hours a day. So that's my luxury for there. I've also got a razor, a little electric razor that I picked up in India for my voluptuous beard, which I don't have. Ridiculous luxury to have on the bike, to be honest. Then I've got extra clothes, extra pants. Really, bike packing, you just need one pair of pants. But I've got, an extra couple of pairs of Star Wars pants to stop myself becoming too serious about this. I have goggles for when I'm at the beach. And I also got a little travel towel, Mountain Warehouse travel towel. This one's been with me again for years and years and years. Got a few little loose holes in it, but otherwise it's all you need. Don't need a new one, just keep it going. And then I've got some work stuff. So if I'm going for a meeting or a date, and I want to impress. I've got some just normal trousers, and I've got a couple of shirts. Because I'm working, I just like to occasionally be out of the technical tee. And that's it, those are my luxuries. So there it is. That's all the kit you need, and some kit you don't, to cycle around the world. Alongside this, I'm sharing a blog post with a full spreadsheet of all the kit that I've talked about in these 2 videos. And subscribe for next week, where I take my bikepacking kit up to the highest lake in Nepal, almost 5,000 meters above sea level, where I'm sitting now. And if you have any questions about kit you want to buy for upcoming adventures, drop a comment below, and maybe we'll chat on the podcast sometime soon when you get back.